So you may have seen things online about dopamine detoxing, and one of the things that is missing from a lot of the teachings on habits is the fact that when you don't allow yourself to do something that is very pleasing to you for a long enough time, not that long, but a long enough time, then any other option becomes preferable to what is more boring than that option. So you can think about how one user that I was following said that to him, reading books gives him as much enjoyment and excitement as someone else's playing video games would give them. Now that's really crazy, because the implication there is that you are literally getting pleasure from something that most people, especially in today's society, find very low on the dopamine threshold, or low dopaminergically, right? But the threshold of someone that can do that, of their dopamine, is so low that when the dopamine reaches that level, it feels like satisfaction. The majority of people today, what is it? Their dopamine is so high, their dopamine threshold is so high that it takes a lot of dopamine in order to excite that. And that's why, let's say, reading a book doesn't seem that exciting to them. And doing things like seeing crazy amounts of colors, fulfilling quests, hearing sounds, and doing crazy things, even digitally, some of those things are cool, but they're way too cool, see? That's the issue. They're required to be that for that individual in order to meet the threshold that this person over here has already met down here, simply by doing an activity that probably gives, 1,000th of the amount of dopamine, because their threshold is so low. So what does that mean for us? Well, for everyone watching, just find ways to do less. But if you want just a little snapshot of a guideline, you could pick one day a week where you do a full fast, right? You could fast from dopamine, you could fast from anything that excites it. That would be anything digital, anything for you that you turn to that's really fun. That's different things for different people. And just replace it with only really simple things, right? Let's say taking a walk and reading. You can take a walk and you can read. That's all you can do for a whole day. Now that's an option. You could do it that way. Another thing you could do is you could take out something in your week and sort of whittle away at it a little bit tinier, right? You could say, at nighttime, let's say you live your life however you normally live it, but then during the evening you completely cut out anything that is fun, and you're only allowed to read before bed, and that's it. That's a great start, because we can work with that. We can start to, once that becomes something that isn't too crazy, you feel like you're locked into it. You don't feel like you're just salivating and craving to do something higher, because your threshold has, over time, naturally lowered. And it doesn't take as long as you might think. This could take a week, 2 weeks, and you can reset yourself here. So when you feel like you're not salivating to do something, because it just seems like you're content with this less, what other people would say is a less exciting thing, because we're all addicted. Their dopamine thresholds are so high that they just cannot relate. Then you know that you have achieved something. You can start implementing it in other places as well. what is this going to do to you? This is going to make activities that you want to do to achieve anything extraordinary much easier. Because in order to be extraordinary, you only need to be a little bit more extra. You don't need to be insane. You know, the term extraordinary is literally just extra, right? You don't need to be... Success is little 1% every day, right? So when your threshold of dopamine has naturally lowered, you'll start to find that you desire to do the things that before seemed like a chore or seemed hard or that they needed discipline to do. Because all the teachings that you've learned over the years, or maybe you haven't, but that you would learn if you started to dive into self-help, will tell you to do many things, but this, I feel like, is the absolute backbone of why any of those things work. In fact, I think if you get this covered, what's going to happen is that you find that you're just desiring to do the hard things. And ultimately, that is what you want to do. Whether you want to practice an instrument, or master a skill, or become a singer, or start a band, or become an artist in some way. All of those things require that you do that activity rather than this activity. So if you want those activities to seem like they are pleasurable and you want to do them, then you're going to have to erase or eradicate the other activities that seem much more pleasurable, that have been the thing that's been pleasing you for so long that they've been preventing you from thinking any of this over here is something you desire to do. Anyways, just some ideas. Talk to you later.